Hi, this is Roger Bryan, co-founder of the Digital Currency Index, and today we are doing an analyst review of NEO, or Ant shares. NEO is considered to be the Ethereum of China, which brings with it some problems from a regulatory perspective that the entire industry has been dealing with for the past month or so. You're going to see a couple times that they're going to get dinged because of the fact that they're based in China. But overall, we're going to have some great information for you about whether NEO is a good investment for you from a long-term perspective. So let's jump right in. So NEO is part of the Digital Currency Index. So you're going to see that we have that as part of our holdings inside of our fund. It was first launched back in 2014. They did a pre-ICO in 2015 to early investors. Then they did their public ICO in 2016, which is where most people started hearing about it. Of course, at that time it was Ant shares, and then they rebranded earlier this year into NEO. So if you're familiar with the way we do our analyst rating, there's 27 points of data that we capture on each project. 17 of them are used to rank it qualitatively and quantitatively in order to give an analyst ranking and to give you a buy, hold, or sell signal. So for age of coin, they're going to get a 5 out of 5 because they are a couple years old. Looking at their website. Now, when we rank their website, we're looking at what type of information it provides, not whether it looks good. They do provide great information on their website of their timeline, their project scope, the technical elements, everything that you need to make a decision on whether or not you should invest in this currency. Of course, every currency that you invest in, you should be doing your due diligence, looking at their website, their white paper, looking for sentiment analysis, seeing what people are talking about, so that you can make your own smart decisions. So we're going to give them a perfect score, 2 out of 2 on their website. Now, when we get into their white paper, our quant, when reviewing their white paper, did ding them a little bit because it's more of a product side white paper with API documentation and less of a project white paper to give us clear transparency on exactly what they're doing and where they're going. I think that's because there's an assumption that they're a core blockchain technology, that we know that, but for a new investor, somebody new to the cryptocurrency or blockchain space, they might not get a full understanding of how the NEO project is going to move forward just based on their white paper. We gave them a 7 out of 10 on that. Now, when we jump into their community, their primary channel is on Slack. They've got a strong following. They've got a very active community. They've got a very well managed community. So they're going to score perfect on both the number of people in their community and the activity of their community, which is great. Looking at their team, they have an amazing team. It's very robust. They've got great credentials. They're covering all the different elements that are needed in order for their project to be successful. We're going to give them a 6 out of 6. Now, when we look at the number of exchanges they're listed on, we've been working on this metric to make sure that it's the best possible score. We now have 10 primary exchanges that we look at. If a coin is listed on at least 5 of them, they're going to score perfect. NEO is on 5 of the top 10 exchanges as we monitor, so they're going to get a 5 out of 5 there. They are one of the top 10 market cap coins, which is going to give them a perfect score of 5 out of 5. Percent held by founders. So this is one of the things where they're actually going to get dinged a little bit because they have issued 100 million coins, but only 50 million of those are actually circulating. So if you look, they have documented what they're going to do with the other 50 million, but as those come out, that could depress the overall value from a liquidation standpoint. So they are going to get dinged a little bit on that. We're going to give them a 1 out of 5. Is it associated with illegal activity? There are certain coins that are less blockchain oriented and more currency exchange oriented that are more associated with illegal activity. So illegal activity is not the same thing as regulatory risk. So we're going to score them a perfect 5 out of 5 because there's no really known information about it being used for illegal activity. So now we're going to get into a couple of things where they do get dinged. We're looking at potential impact from regulation. It's hard. They're a Chinese-based project, and there's a lot going on in China. When the Chinese regulators decided to ban ICOs and then started to close down the exchanges, it looked like NEO could implode. You saw a huge price drop in it, bigger than most coins through that regulatory dip that we saw last month. But they're still around, and their prices rebounded to a pretty strong level. that doesn't mean that the regulatory risk is gone. It just means that investors see it as potentially surviving this. And then once the regulators in China set the proper strategy for everyone going forward, NIO could actually flourish. That makes it kind of a risk, but they have survived this first round. So we do have to give them a 1 out of 5 on this just because we have no idea where the Chinese government's going to go. No one really knows that. Available supply to total supply, they get a 5 out of 10. This is purely based on the percentage of coins that are available relative to the percentage of coins that were created. It's a straight number, it's 5 out of 10. Hold value prop. There aren't a lot of coins that score well in this category, but NIO does. By buying and holding NIO, you are awarded gas. This could be considered a long-term investment style dividend that actually grows as a value prop on its own, so they're going to score 5 out of 5. Underlying asset association, they do own their own blockchain, and that the NIO coin is used as an access point to that. So we're going to score them a 4 out of 5 on that. Okay, from a competition perspective, they are in a very crowded space. I mean, they're competing with Ethereum, they're competing with Ripple. Their value prop on this and why we scored them so high is because there's a lot of P2P, peer-to-peer trading. They have a unique consensus algorithm, and they're really looking to be a leader in this space. And with proper regulatory changes in China, they could definitely be a leader in the Chinese market, which is going to consider to be one of the biggest for blockchain technology because of their adoption rate. So they're going to score a 10 out of 10. Their sentiment score is kind of low. It's a 3 out of 10. A lot of that is being dragged down by Chinese regulation. There's not really much more that we can say about that. It's hard that a coin has to deal with negative sentiment to an overall market regulatory environment, but they do, and they're kind of at the forefront of that in China. So until the Chinese government sets a base for regulation, exchanges, and tokenized or currency-based offers, they're going to score a little bit low on sentiment just because people are nervous. You've also seen major price spikes and dips from this coin based on a lot of that. So they scored 3 out of 10. The problem they're trying to solve, they are definitely a leader in the smart economy, so they're going to score a 5 out of 5. Overall, our analysts scored this as a 76 out of 100, which based on our recent change to our overall ratings is going to put them into a buy rating. The things to watch for in NIO is this. Today's date is October 10th. The reason I say that date is because these analyst reviews are only good for about a month, maybe a quarter, and then they need to be redone because of the way the overall market is changing. That you have regulation in China that's going to play a big role in this. You've got different conferences that come up. Last year when NIO's conference went up, they had a huge spike. And also right now we're dealing with the Bitcoin Gold fork, which is really driving down the value of altcoins while driving up the value of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's back above 50% of overall market cap as people try to buy in order to get the coin that's going to split. So it might be an excellent opportunity to buy into NIO now while it's a little depressed. You're really gambling on that investment based on what the regulators are going to do. But it could pay off. If regulation comes in NIO's favor and they become like the first certified coin in China, you're going to see a huge spike. If you think it's comparable to Ethereum, you know the price of Ethereum's at $300, the price of NIO's at $30. They're kind of serving similar product or similar spaces in the smart economy. So our analyst rating is a buy. We would recommend you buying the NIO coin. NIO is not a security, so there's no security regulation involved with our analyst rating. Again, do your own research. Check out our overall analyst review and make your own decision on what you should do. I'm Roger from the Digital Currency Index. There's a link below to learn more about our index, and we look forward to doing the next review with you. Thank you.